Howdy.
Senator Bryson.
Howdy.
Senator Pennyman. Senator Howard.
Howdy.
Senator Alders.
Howdy.
Senator Smith.
Howdy.
Senator Woolsey.
Howdy.
Senator Hurley. Senator Rios. Senator Nate.
Howdy.
Senator Kim.
Howdy.
Senator Gasalleja. Senator Click.
Howdy.
Senator Russo.
Howdy.
Senator Luz. Senator Boyd. Senator Davis.
Howdy.
Senator Allen. Senator Kelly.
Howdy.
Senator Mulley. Senator Joyce.
Howdy.
Potter. Senator Brown. Senator Fuquay.
Howdy.
Senator Hawks. Senator G. Senator Williamson.
Howdy.
Senator Bateman. Senator Melendez. Senator Brockmiller. Senator Phelps.
Howdy.
Senator Heisel. Senator Caldwell. Senator Haman. Senator Kerry.
Here. Howdy.
All right, we will now move into the invocation and pledges of allegiance.
Please bow your heads, pray with me. Lord, we ask you that today, as we gather to serve students, that we do so with you in mind, that everything that we do is to glorify you, that nothing is for our own pride, that everything is done in consideration of the people that we represent, the students of this university, with the aspiration to improve this university and take it in the right direction, a direction that better serves students, that improves the lives of the constituents that we represent. Help us in every action that we make be done so according to our will, according to our own thoughts about how it is best to govern. And we ask you to lead us in our actions and to make sure that we make every decision for the best of this university. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The Texas A. Alright, the Texas A&M University keeps opening up though.
Just press X.
The Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution: excellence, integrity, respect, loyalty, leadership, and selfless service.
All right, the chair has, thank you, Chair Sosa. The chair has been made aware of several items for open forum. First up is our advisor, Sarah Edwards.
All right, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Okay, something I'm going to tell you about real quick is, and I'm going to pass around flyers for, is something that's a new initiative in SGA this year that I'm really excited that we're starting. It's called the SGA Leadership Certificate. Basically what we're doing is we have felt some pressure in the last couple of years to devise a program that would be available to every member of student government. So it doesn't matter if you are a member of Senate, the chair of carpool, the student body president, anyone would have ability to be involved in this program. And this is what we've come up with. So basically what it is we developed this program. It's grounded in the social change model. Anyone familiar with that social change model leadership? Okay. Well, it has 7 tenets, 3 individual, 3 group, and 1 community. And they're basically 7 guiding principles that if you follow and work on, it's about creating positive change. So what the program is, and I've never done it with the clock ticking, so I'm trying to hurry, is you attend 14 events between now and the end of March. Now these are not events that we tell you, it's not specific things, but it's 14 events that you would go to, 2 per value. And on that flyer that I passed out, there's a link to where on our SGA website is kind of the submission form. You go in and basically for every event that you attend, you just submit a quick, like, 1 paragraph. It does not have to be like rocket science, but that you've shown some thought in reflecting on how whatever you attended, whatever you learned, ties with one of those 7 values. So it's 2 values, or 2 events per value between now and the end of March. Everybody who participates will then be honored at the SGA banquet. So again, it's a way, we have a calendar of events for October that's already on the website if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what kind of events we're talking about, but that is not restrictive. It can be anything in the community. If you just attend it, you can submit retroactively, or if you know that you've got events going on in the campus or community with your organization or others, you can also email them to me ahead of time. I'll add them to our calendar, and then it's another way to let all of SGA know about some events that you care about. So it kind of works. It's a win-win both ways. But basically, it's a really neat thing, and we've created it in such a way that it will be able to grow and move forward. So like this year, we've got the leadership certificate. Next year, maybe if this is something that takes off, we could create some more requirements, and then you can earn the advanced leadership certificate or something. Like we've intentionally created it in a way that can be sustainable. Okay, well, I made it. Does anyone have? Well, I'll leave it to the chair to ask.
Are there any questions for?
Chair Gnu, does this analog show up in your transcript?
It won't show up on your transcript, but it is going to be something that we're going to design so that you can put it on your resume. So we've created the website and things with the legitimacy. That's why it's grounded in a recognized theory, so that when people ask you about it, it will have the element of, again, legitimacy. Sorry.
Right. Are there any further questions?
All right, thanks.
Seeing none, thank you. And the chair
I'll
will
leave the
also.
extra flyers also.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to limit answers in open forum to 30 seconds apiece. So moved.
So moved.
And seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right. So it is. Next up is Connor Berry, an English major from the class of 2015, who is representing the Wells Project.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Besides being really underdressed, I'm Connor Berry, and I'm here with the Wells Project. I'm an advocate for the Wells Project, and what the Wells Project is we look to serve people who are being afflicted by the water crisis through an organization called Living Water International. What Living Water International does is they take funds raised by college campuses all over the nation, and they go in and they build clean water wells in the middle of these towns and cities people who don't have access to clean water. And while they do that, they also go in and they share the gospel at the same time, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it's such cool symbolism because there's water for their bodies that they physically need, and there's the water, living water of Christ that cleanses them. So it's a very cool opportunity for us to get to raise money for this program. And how we do that here at Texas A&M is through a program called the 10 Days. And the 10 Days starts October 10th and goes through October 19th. And the goal of this is to drink water, to raise money for water. So what we do is, for 10 days, we fast from everything but water as far as drinking goes. So if you drink coffee, soda, energy drinks, for 10 days you give up those things, and if that's a test week, I apologize. But you give up those things and you only drink water. And the money that you would normally spend on that for all those other drinks, you would donate to the Living Water Foundation, and that money goes directly to building clean water wells. Just kind of an example to show the effect that the money has. $1 donated gives one person clean water for an entire year. So let's say in the 10 days you only drink 2 cups of coffee, $5. That's clean water for somebody for 5 years. And that's also a chance to get to hear the gospel. And not only do they have clean water for 5 years, but their life is changed forever, and their eternal perspective is just radically changed by Jesus Christ. So just some facts about the water crisis. There are 783 million people who don't have access to clean water. Either they drink dirty water every day, or they travel hours at a time to get water, and that's less time they have for education and so many other things. There are 2.2 water sanitation related deaths a year. There's 2.2 million people who die just because they don't have clean water. There are 5,000 children under the age of 5 that die every day, 1 every 15 seconds. 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. So it starts the 10th, goes the 19th. There's a concert Friday, goes over to 6. Concert starts at 7. $5 Living Water, or Living Hope College Station.
Great. All right, are there any questions for coming? Seeing none, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next up is Arlene Kemp, Jeff Pickering, and Hillary Heisel for PPIP.
Howdy.
Howdy.
So my name is Arlene Kent. I'm the program coordinator for the public policy internship program. Other than Hillary and Jeff, are there any other alumni of the program in here? No, Mark is outside, but okay, good deal. Well, I know some of you have already heard me give this presentation before, but I'm going to run through it really fast. What PPIP is an academic program that is also brought to you by the same office that brings you the Writing Center, the Office of Graduate and Professional School Advising, as well as your SI leaders. So it's an academic program meant to help our students succeed and secure jobs. And so what we do is we send students to DC every single semester, 10 to 15 per semester, and this is a short list of some of the placements where our students have interned. I myself interned with the Department of State. Hillary did MCSL, and Jeff did IJM, which they'll explain what those acronyms are in a second. But this is a short list of some of the places where students intern: Hearst, Peace Corps, the White House, Department of Defense, etc. It's open to all majors, so we try to fit you into a placement where it's going to help you with your future career path. You get free housing, you receive academic credit. It's a great opportunity, obviously, to improve your resume, having a full-time internship in Washington, D.C. It's a phenomenal opportunity for networking. We give you business cards, we give you opportunities to network, professional development events, different events concerning blogging groups, and various other opportunities to meet. For example, have dinner with President Lofton, and meet and greets with various other senators and representatives from Texas. DC is also a really fun city to live in, based on, you get free museums all over the city, and then your proximity to all of the other fun East Coast cities. We also have placements in Paris, London, Brussels, Nice, and Berlin. For our international placements, you do need to speak either French or German, obviously, except for London. You can speak English. All of our placements, you need to have at least a 3.0 GPA, 60 credit hours, be a U.S. citizen, and you can be an undergraduate, master's, or PhD student. I think I said it's open to all majors. Right now, we're currently recruiting for Austin since our DC application deadline already passed. You in Austin can intern with a member of the Texas Senate or Texas House of Representatives. And that only comes around every other spring semester, and I'm sure you guys know why. That's we're looking at our 83rd Texas legislative session that starts January 8th and ends May 27th. So you are required to intern the full length of session, which, from what I hear, and I'm sure Hillary can probably attest, they have really exciting end of session celebrations. Yeah, and beginning. And beginning. So in Austin, it's kind of nice because you do get paid a minimum of $1,000 a month for your internship. We don't provide housing in Austin, so this is meant to help cover that cost. Same requirements for DC. Austin is a 2.5 GPA requirement, is a little lower. Our international internships, obviously you guys know why being a global citizen is important in a global world. So if any of you guys know how to speak French or German, I would definitely look into our Berlin, Brussels, Paris, Nice opportunities. And all of us speak English, so we can all apply for the London opportunity. The deadline for Austin is October 15th, so that's about a week and a half. And I'm going to turn it over to Hillary to speak about her Austin internship, or no, she was a staffer in Austin, but Hillary was also a summer intern. So
Yes, I have done
Austin and DC, and I know we're very limited in time, so any of you feel free to come talk to me. I was a staffer, like Arlene said, in Austin, so I was an administrative assistant. Mine is a little bit different experience, but Austin is awesome. It's such, I know, crazy, right? Such a fun city. It's really fun, the Senate and the House. I had friends in both, so I kind of have experience with both as far as like, you know, how laid back the House is compared to the Senate and all of that. I know a lot of people do legislative research. I know for us in Senate, we're planning on doing speaking teams, so that would be a really great contact. If we had some people in Austin doing PBIP that, you know, we could already establish that, that would be good for Texas A&M and for the Senate. So I would really encourage you to do that. And just feel free to come and talk to me about Austin or DC.
And Judd just came back from International Justice Mission internship over the summer.
Yeah, so just briefly, I'll say that being a victory lapper here at A&M, I had one extra summer, and so I decided to spend it in DC, which other than milk being $4.99 and just cost of life being expensive, it was an awesome, awesome summer. And I know we're here in student government, and many of you, as Hillary and I do, have interest in politics, in government, in public policy. But also public policy doesn't end with just being on the Hill in Austin or DC. You can also do, for example, a human rights organization, which is what International Justice Mission is. IJM is a Christian human rights organization that protects people from human trafficking and other violent forces of injustice and abuse around the world. And I was in the investigations and security department, which was awesome. IJM is a casework organization actually investigating, busting down doors, bringing people out. So I was doing lots of work researching with the State Department and other things like that as part of my internship in DC. It's an awesome experience. DC is a really fun place to live. Everyone will complain about how hot it is, but you're from Texas, so you'll be fine. And you being from Texas A&M truly does mean a lot in DC, and I can't encourage it enough. So talk to Hillary. If you're interested in something more like what I did, you can get my contact information from Hillary or anybody else in this room that would have it. So. Yeah, apply. Think about it.
All right, are there any questions for these three fine people? Senator Hawks.
Hi, on the website it says you have to have 60 hours. When do you have to have the 60 hours? Would that be this month? You need to have 60 by the time you'll be in your internship. So if you have like 52 now, you can still apply.
All right, are there any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. President. And I'm going to go ahead and interrupt open forum now because we have election results. So, all right, so our next architecture senator will be Megan Jang. Business senators are Hudson Boyle and Foster Daley. Education are Jose Luis Zelaya and Rich Pringle. Engineering is Gustavo Garcia. General studies are Matt Green, Miles Kasurik, and Alicia Ovalle. Liberal arts is Thomas McNutt. Science is Andrew Marlowe. Veterinary medicine is Sierra Mountain. Off campus is Hannah Weger, Gus Blessing, Gracie Wood, Joseph Puente, and Robbie Chimino. Freshman is Aaron Mitchell and Patrick O'Neill. And there was a runoff for freshman class president between AJ Rice and Brooke McManus. So that's that whole thing. Anyway, next up for open forum is John Herzog and Mary Gallagher from TAMC.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I'm John Herzog.
And I'm Mary Gallagher.
And we're the co-chairs of TAMC. TAMC, it stands for Texas AU's Making Changes. We are a student government organization that strives to fulfill the needs of the student body by 3 programs. We have Ag Input, Adopt a Flowerbed, and ACRE. ACRE is the Aggie Campus Restoration Effort. It is a day that we hold each semester that we just really want to give back to campus, clean it up, campus-wide cleanup. I'm sure y'all have all heard of Big Event. Pretty much the same thing, just on campus. So we really noticed our impacts that we make on that day.
Our second program is Adopt a Flower Bed. We have flower beds outside of Evans Library that we adopt out to other organizations, and our members work as liaisons with those organizations to make sure that they upkeep the flower beds. And then we also have a planting day in the spring where we all go out with the organizations and plant flowers in the flower beds. And then our third program is Ag Input. Ag Input is a way for the students to address the concerns they have, and we take that feedback and we work with higher authorities to help make that change and make the place a better place, or make A&M better for the students. We really want to, our main goal this year is to work with Senate and improve our relationships so we can see these projects grow and develop even more. We're really excited about this year, and if y'all have any questions.
All right, do I see any questions? Senator Russo.
Russo off campus. You mentioned Ag Input, and in the past that project, it hasn't gotten a lot of interplay with what we do here in the Senate, which is to develop student opinion in the form of legislation. In what ways do you think that we can improve that communication line so that you can kind of help us help you?
We want to make it the feedback available to Senate to be able to look at the feedback and the concerns that the students come to us with. So we're trying to come up with a system, whether it be online, and if it's online, the names would be all taken off the concerns so nobody sees the names. And
Because we have a website that people can make suggestions on. It's a link on the TMC website. You just click on it and you can type in your name and email. And we have all those compiled in a database, but from there, it's really, I do agree that it should be public. Maybe have a website where students could access it, and we do provide the students with feedback. We send them an email, thank you for your concern. But I agree as far as that goes. I think we should definitely have a presentation or a way to let everybody in Senate know what's going on campus.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any further questions? Chair Sosa.
I think you're up for a good Senate. We talked about the TAMC bill. Can you just briefly inform Senate what your views are on the TAMC Senate Corporation bill?
We completely agree. Part of the bill was making this information public, like we just talked about, and as well as having a presentation where we would display some of that feedback, here on your projector and let everybody kind of look at it and talk about it and decide. But we're fully supportive of this bill.
All right, are there any further questions? Seeing none, thank you for coming. Next up is Cody Davis, a poli-sci major representing College Republicans.
How long is that?
2.5 minutes.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Friday at 10 a.m. in the MSC, the College Republicans are working with the local conservative groups of Brazos County, and we're putting on what's called Free Enterprise Day. And it's in the MSC room 2406, and it's going to talk about free enterprise in the marketplace. It's going to start at 10 a.m. with Congressman Bill Flores talking about America becoming energy independent. And it's going to move on to an energy panel moderated by Greg Parker, who ran for Railroad Commissioner. And later on, we got some speakers talking about why medical expenses skyrocket and whatnot. It's from 10 to 1:30. It's not that long. If you're in the MSC and you're going into a field that one of these might affect, please stop by and get some free pizza and listen to your local leaders talk about free enterprise and the free market. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Senator Davis. Next up is Mark Wonak, class of 2011 from English School.
Howdy.
Howdy.
So a couple of quick things. First is, so
I don't know, you guys have probably heard us talk about the food bank that we've set up. So we've made a ton of progress on that effort, and so we're really pretty excited. If you have some specific questions about all that, I can tell you how that's been going, but it's been really exciting. So one of the great things about this food bank that we're setting up on campus is we're going to be partnering with Aggies Can through SAC, the Student Athlete Advisory Council. And SAC is the ones that put on Aggies Can, so we're going to contact them at several meetings. And so their desire is to grow this program even more than it already is. And our desire is to be a partner with them. So they're going to be contributing to this on-campus food bank, and we're going to help reach out to the rest of the university with them to make sure that we make this program the best it can be. So in that effort, John Claybrook has decided to challenge the other big student organizations on campus to a food drive contest for the next 2 weeks. So your big organizations on campus, SGA, MSC, Greek Life, Corps Cadets, class councils, all these groups have a green box in their office, and the organization, GSC, the organization that collects the most food will win the contest. We really think this is a great opportunity for SGA to crush other organizations, and we've been talking an inappropriate amount of mess. So we're gonna hear from the rest of you if GSC beats these people. I'm just letting you know they're gonna come in here, sit in our chairs, and eat our lunch. So please don't let us down. So what I'm asking you to do is, please, as individual senators, bring a couple of canned foods, put it in the green box, and let's donate to Aggies Can. Let's show our student athletes that their program is quality. Let's also help feed hungry Aggies on this campus. The second thing I ask is you to reach out to your constituents, whether they are in the other organizations, if they're going to donate to the Corps, if they're going to donate to Greek Life, whatever, it doesn't matter, as long as we get those boxes full. Also, if they want to give you cans and you donate to SGA, hey, you know, that'd be okay. So please make sure that you do that. I want to really encourage you to do those things. And then I had one more thing that I can't remember what it was. Oh, also, just on a quick note, I really like that you guys, completely unrelated, are passing fewer bills, because in the past we've passed like 10,000 bills, and some of them, quite frankly, have sucked. So not only does it make my job easier as the mailman that has to deliver these bills to the various people, but it also allows executive council to really focus on specific pieces of legislation and actually get stuff done with that. So if you ever have a specific question about what we've done with a piece of legislation, always feel free to come ask me or one of the vice presidents in that regards to, and we can get that answer for you. But I just want to say, always quality over quantity. So if you guys have any questions about the food bank, be happy to hear those. Otherwise, beat the hell out of all of this. To start off, question the center office. Yes.
Oh, I was looking at my
I think I can do it. I think it was raising the white flag in the Corps on the food bank. I think that's what's going on. It's okay.
All right, are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Vice President. That concludes open forum. So we will now move right into the confirmation hearing for Chelsea Liu for Chief Justice. So let's get this started.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to address some of those things that I think I left a little too open last time. Very quickly. Well, I'm just going to get started and wait for that to come up. But I want to talk about my leadership experience primarily because I don't think I addressed it very well last time, and I understand that it concerned a lot of you. I am currently the president of the Pre-Law Society and the president of IU Big Brothers Big Sisters. And I also serve as a CASA in terms of off-campus organizations. Within Pre-Law Society and IU Big Brothers Big Sisters, I do organize the officers. There's 9 within Pre-Law Society, and then 6 within IU Big Brothers Big Sisters. And in that, there have been, some times when resolution is necessary, and I do have to organize the officers and keep them in line. So that's with the on-campus organizations. In terms of CASA, the off-campus organization, the reason why I find that to be extremely important in my qualification to Chief Justice is because it forces me to practice impartiality. And in that, specific to the role of Chief Justice, I think it's super important to always keep in mind that my values have to be subsidiary to the Constitution. And so between those three, I believe that that's what makes me the most adequate and the most qualified person to act as Chief Justice. On to that, I'm going to talk about my plans for the court. So, like I said last time, I would like to increase the professionalism within J-Court. And then also, I do still want to have a pre-case constitutional overview. And that being said, for the reason why I find that to be extremely, extremely pertinent is because we have to understand the Constitution without the context of details and cases. And I think the best example of that was due to case 6110, in which there was the issue of disqualification due to the budget. And I want to refer to that one because I think the fact that it wasn't explicitly clear what the rules were is a problem. And though that's a problem with legislation, I don't think it should have been a problem to begin with, and it was motivated out of necessity. Another thing I want to do in terms of how the court is organized and ordered is by having completely thorough and clear decisions, in that every single opinion that comes across and that is given to the student body essentially is very clear in why they decide the way they do. I'm going to refer to case 6112, which was the case with Chair Smith, I believe, and S.U. Pickering. And in that, I think, when I read the decision, I was, oh, thank you. When I read that decision, I was taken back and I was slightly concerned by how the court was in that instance in the road court and how they were functioning, because I didn't understand why explicitly they decided the way they did. There was no reference to the Constitution. There was no citations to amendments or anything of such. And to me, that's really troubling. And I don't think that they properly interpreted the Constitution in that instance. Another thing that I think is really important in the role of Chief Justice and what I plan to do as Chief Justice is the history of J-Court has been one majority opinion and then 8 concurring opinions that fall right under. And I don't think that's how the court should be formatted by any means, just like the Supreme Court in that sense. Dissenting opinions are so important to cases, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that, but they are because they give an idea of what the consequences could be if you didn't go with the majority opinion. And that is so incredibly insightful into the interpretation of the court. And I think by focusing too much on what the Chief Justice thinks and how they interpret the Constitution, though it's important to know how the Chief Justice interprets the Constitution, it's just as much equally important to know how the other 8 do as well. Because the Chief Justice vote is locked at 1/9. There's nothing that can happen in order to give them more say in the vote. Though they do have a certain leadership bearing over them, they're still equal in vote. Okay, well I guess from here, I'll move on to questions, if that's okay.
Yes, and you only have 5 seconds left, so.
Yeah.
First up is Speaker Fernandez.
Speaker Fernandez, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I heard this correctly. Did you say that they're not, that usually it's only the majority opinion and concurring opinions and they're never dissenting opinions?
Not every time, but from what I read, it's usually one big opinion and there aren't dissenting. No, not every time, of course, but the majority of the time has been where they all fall in line with Chief Justice.
Oh, okay, I was wondering if you said majority or usually or always. Thank you.
Senator Smith.
Senator Smith, college guy. Is there any specific thing you did get to me from your time you would like to talk?
Sure, yeah. I guess I want to go more into depth about the balance that I was kind of talking about near the end of my presentation with the 9. I just feel like it's really important to reiterate that though it's really important for you guys to understand how I interpret the Constitution, in the scope of the 9, those are kind of questions that should have been asked during the Associate Justice interview, because at this point, whether you agree with my interpretation or not, my 1/9 vote is locked. And that follows logically. So I guess that's pretty much the only thing to make that argument.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, we will now move into a period of debate. All those debating against, or, oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. I'm going to debate against it, if someone else wants to go first, that's fine. Okay. 2.5 for each side, and then it goes until 15 minutes.
All right, guys. All right. Do I hear anything for debate against? All right,
All right, I guess I'll get us started. Well, I thought, first of all, I have a big problem with the idea of bringing up the same thing over and over again. We already made a decision one time, and we made a decision based on good information. I saw this presentation. It was a decent presentation, but I didn't really see anything that changed since last time. So all we've really accomplished is we've wasted 2 weeks and gone without a Chief Justice. I don't know. There's nothing in there that would make me change my outlook on the situation. I can't imagine that there's much else that would make anyone else change it. What I've been looking for this entire time is a vision for the court. The court has often operated in the past as a kind of invisible branch of student government that only really comes up when it's needed, and then it becomes a big deal and then kind of recedes again. And I don't think that's right. I think we need to have 3 co-equal branches, and the judicial court needs to be every bit as much a part of the running of SGA as the other 2. And I didn't really see that from this presentation. I saw very good arguments for why Justice Liu would make a good Justice of the Judicial Court. Fairness, understanding that she is only 1 vote, writing dissenting opinions, those are all the jobs that we already confirmed her for. The Chief can be so much more. I didn't hear anything about communication with entities outside of SGA. I didn't hear anything about even communication within SGA to try and make people aware of the fact that they have a board. Because a lot of people don't know that. There are disputes that come up in SGA all the time that might have been resolved better ways if people had been able to go to the court. So there are a lot of things that I think a Chief Justice could help out with that I didn't really hear in that presentation, and I didn't hear it in the one before, which is why I would have voted against before. Nothing in the last 2 weeks has made me change my mind. And I don't think we should be tired out. I don't think we should think of this as, well, let's just get it over with, because I think a better choice can be made. This is the last time that Chelsea Liu can come up for confirmation for this. After this, the student body president will have to pick someone else. So I think that's what we should do. And with that,
all right. I will now hear debate 4. Anyone for debate 4? All right. Well, with that, debate's over, and we will now move into a period of voting.
So we have a ballot.
Okay, so it's going to be ballot voting. Are you motion otherwise?
We should make a ballot.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What?
I don't think anyone heard
Is this a ballot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, so you might clarify.
So, okay, guys, these aren't yes, no, abstain ballots. They're race candidate ballots. So just make it clear what race is Chief Justice, and then just write yes or no on it.
Okay, howdy. Just a reminder, because we're going to be counting them, and it's really important. It needs your name and yes or no. And I know that seems very simple, but you'd be amazed how often we get ballots that don't include those 2 things.
Yes. That's this,
Is everyone going? Is everyone going? Yes. Now that everyone has voted, Scott, I'll take You actually was what I'm talking Yes. Yeah.
All right, by a vote of 15 in favor and 25 against, Chelsea Liu is not confirmed for Chief Justice. All right, no, and one abstention. So we will now move on to old business. First up is SB 6511, the Student Support for an On-Campus Farm Bill. So will the bill authors please come forward.
Howdy.
Howdy.
This is our bill, we passed it out at Student Services Committee, and we made a few changes to it. Can you just hold on a little bit? Okay. Couple of extra amendments just to emphasize what we really want from the Howdy Farm and that it be preserved in the future. We added this to make sure that the student body was aware of what the Howdy Farm brought to campus and how we wanted it to still be incorporated into campus despite potential changes coming to the university. Something that we didn't get to talk about last 2 weeks ago was just the importance of the Howdy Farm to campus. It has a lot of money already invested in it, and it has money set aside to allow it to continue growing without continued funding being put into it. And we just wanted, most importantly, is let it be further enacted. 3, that if they do move it, it still be placed on campus in an accessible format, not thrown out in one of our obscure campus locations that people can't access, because that's not what the goal of Howdy Farm is. It is to make sure that students on campus have the ability to go out and experience agriculture firsthand. So.
All right, we'll now move into questions. First up is Senator Russo.
Senator Russo off campus. Could you just remind us really quickly what the funding structure for the Howdy Farm is?
Okay, Howdy Farm was started, it kind of got its starting from some of the Green Fund, and then there is a chart, I believe, if you go to Howdy Farm. Okay, we're good. So $50,000 came from the Green Fund, and then after that we have some class funding, and then also I believe it's about $14,000 that's come from this recent program, which is the CSA, which is a program where you can sign up to get food from the Howdy Farm, and so that's about. Go down. Go back up to the top. Yeah. About. Here, can you zoom in on that? Okay, so there's a structure. So the Green Fund grant award is kind of the initial punch, and then we have revenue that's generated by the CSAs, about $12,000. We've got continuing sales to dining services as well, and as well as some revenue from that CSA.
So is this a breakdown of just costs, or does it also have expenses on it?
There's also the total expenses right there is part of the expenses, so it's not just revenue in that pie chart, but it kind of gives you a complete breakdown of what.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any further questions? Seeing none, we'll now move into the period of debate. Is there any debate against? Seeing none, the chair deems debate one-sided, and we'll now move into a period of voting.
I move for a quicker vote.
Okay, clicker vote doesn't have to be moved since that is the default, but that is what we will do. So. Alright, okay. Does everyone have your clickers? Alright, let's get started voting. Go. Okay, once again, A is for, B is against, C is abstain, don't hit D or E. The last thing you did. All right, is that everyone? All right, this still passes, but we can show it on the screen. There we go. Okay, so bill passes unanimously. Woohoo! All right. Next up is the academic calendar task force bill. So the authors on that is where's the floor?
Howdy.
Howdy.
Well, this bill went through committee without very much change, except for on the who it's going to be sent to, because one of the little arts, AOC Deans, is no longer on there, so we changed it to the new one. We had some recent progress in regards to this. The task force has a lot of interest in this from the AOC Deans and for other individuals that see this, see some potential solutions for this. I've already spoken with the registrar, Vanessa Heidick, and we have already come up with a possible solution for the Wednesday before Thanksgiving question. One solution is to make that Wednesday a holiday and then move up the date of graduation from that Friday, Saturday to Saturday, Sunday, and then move exams to Monday through Thursday of that week. And then the week previous, you still have your 2 dead days, and then Wednesday would be a redefined day. And so we would still keep our redefined days, and we would be able to have Thanksgiving off and just move graduation. The only 2 hurdles we have to check on is the availability of Reed Arena and to make sure that the core that commissioning goes on schedule. And right now, the only thing we're lacking is an SLS survey from students to get some good, solid student opinion on this, and input from the faculty senate. And then after that's done, we should have everything out of vote for y'all to vote on by March.
All right, does that conclude the presentation? We will now move to the period of voting. Are there any questions? Are there any questions for the bill authors? Seeing none, we will now move to the period of voting. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, we will now move to a period of voting. I think that's what I said before. It's been a long day. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a clicker vote. Alright. Is that everyone? Alright. Alright, also by a unanimous vote of 40 to 0 to 1. Yeah, that's a rough call.
Yeah.
Alright, well, so that passed unanimously. We will now move right into the 2012-2013 SGA appropriations bill. So, before we get started on this, I want to make the body aware of a couple of interesting facts about appropriations bills because they're handled a little bit differently under the rules. For an amendment to an appropriations bill, you can't just make an amendment and get a second and then debate it. You have to get a 1/6 second from the body. So it's not enough for just you and the other person. You have to have a sixth of people raising placards for the amendment to be heard. And then for an amendment to pass, it requires 2/3 voting in favor. And then also, if an appropriations bill is passed, that is subject to a line item by the student body president. So with that, let's go.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Please stand and say your point.
How does one remove their name from the sponsor list?
You stop sponsoring it. Is that something you'd like to do?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Howdy.
Howdy.
The Finance Committee presents to you the appropriations bill that has passed out of committee. We met twice. We addressed all the concerns that we had within the committee. That from the budget that was presented to us by the Vice President of Finance, Matt Glavin, who worked with all the committees to hear their requests, to get initial requests considered. I'll basically go over the questions that were asked, and that was, does the allocation benefit the student body or only committee members? Does the committee have other sources of revenues, fundraisers, grants, donations? Can the amount requested for a certain item be raised from members' use, particularly for t-shirts for committee members? Will the activity be open to the general student population? Now, after those questions were asked, after initial cuts were made, when presentations were conducted, then we were still over by $11,000. We're allocated $50,000, $5,000 goes to reserves, operational reserves. Then $45,000 is allocated by the Finance Committee. So the Vice President of Finance sent us a budget that was at the cap, which was $45,000. And from there, the committee considered additional requests by committees. And only a few committees requested changes to their budget. Most of them just wanted redistribution within their own individual budget. And only one of them requested an increase, but that was not approved within committee. And so for that, we had to also consider whether it was a good idea for us to fund an entire line item, an entire event for a committee, because we also have other committees that need funding. So we basically can't fund all the entire budgets because that would put us way over our limit. And by statute, we can't allocate more than we're allowed to, which is $45,000. Basically because we don't have that money to allocate. So we do have the reserve, so in case that a committee does in fact need additional funding later in the semester, then they'll be able to request funding from the Finance Committee, and then we'll hear the request, consider it, and present it to Senate in that case throughout the year. So the budget was sent to y'all. It has individual committees, the amount that they requested, the amount that they're being recommended, and that totals to $45,000. A lot of work went into it. The Finance Committee then met twice. We had very important meetings where we talked about every single concern that was brought up by our members. And do y'all have anything to add to the budget?
All right, questions?
All right, we'll now move into the period of question and answer. Are there any questions for the bill authors? Seeing none, we will now move into debate. Is there any debate against this bill? Seeing none, the chair deems debate one-sided, and we will now move into a period of voting. So let's get our clickers out. And by ours, I mean y'all, because I don't vote. Has everyone voted? All right, let's see the results. All right, by a vote of 36 in favor to 1 against with 4 abstentions, this bill passes. So I just have to say that was the first time I have seen a finance bill pass that did not pass with at least 2 hours of debate. So great job getting the work done in committee, Chair Sosa, because that is exactly how that should have gone. All right, and that concludes new business. We have one item, or old business. We have one item for new business, the fair printing fees bill. Does anyone want to hear a presentation on that? All right, so that will be referred to the Student Services Committee. We will now move into open session. Are there any items for open session? Chair Sosa.
I need to pull the TAMC Senate cooperation bill out of the constituency of first.
Okay, a motion has been made to withdraw the TAMC Senate cooperation bill. Do you have a point of information?
Yeah.
Oh, seconded? Okay, and that has been seconded to withdraw from the Constituency Affairs Committee. This is a debatable motion and requires a 2/3 vote to pass. And basically what this says is it brings it out of committee onto the floor to be heard as a normal bill. So, you may ask why, or he could explain why in debate. Okay, so with that, is there any debate against? Chair Henry.
I don't know why we're doing this.
I
Yield to.
I would like to, I don't know why we're doing this either.
All right. Okay. Debate in favor. Chair Sosa.
Okay. Basically, the concerns that I heard that the committee had with the bill were concerns that I had discussed with the TAMC chairs, and the bill was amended according to the concerns that they had. They strongly agreed with the purpose of the bill. So just keeping it in committee will only prolong its passage. The committee agrees with it. They're pretty supportive of that. I met with them, talked to the chairs, and they're excited that there's going to be a pathway with Senate and the committee that will allow us to help TAMC in any issues that they can't address themselves. And then Senate can benefit from that because we get to address concerns that are sent to TAMC, and then if they can't handle it in their own committee, we get to help them by advocating for it at the branch level. With that,
Point of information.
Please send us your point.
Is this gonna come out on the floor like old business, or is it gonna be new business?
It will come out as old business. So what will happen is it will be pulled out of committee and considered just like any other. It will basically be like it passed out of committee.
Yeah, that's fine with me because the reason we didn't pass it out of committee is because I didn't get the chance to talk to John, and now I have. So, I mean, all the concerns that we had in committee have been addressed.
All right. So I have down for debate against. Okay.
But it's nice.
All right. Is there any debate against?
Point of information, do I have to still send out since there were changes from the previous bill?
Okay, were there changes made in committee to it?
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
There was a proposed amendment at the meeting, but I was unable to attend the meeting. We did have to change the amendment to add an author to the meeting so that it could be discussed in committee. Was that an amendment to add the author? I would ask for information to ask about that.
Okay, so an author was added in committee so that it could be discussed, but nothing in the actual text of the bill itself was changed.
I proposed an amendment, and I believe that did pass. If that bill is not debatable, I have the amendment. It was just a minor amendment to the bill that I proposed.
All right, so can someone send her the final version of the bill as it is in committee right now? And while we move into a vote on this. So there is no more debate against, that concludes debate on this bill, and we'll now move into a period of voting. So, all those in favor of pulling this out of the committee and bringing it to the floor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Nay. Okay, the chair calls his own division. All in favor, please stand. Cody, y'all in favor? Yes. And Ferry, are you in favor? Yes, sir. Okay, all against, please stand. Yes. Okay, by a vote of 29 to 11, this is pulled out of committee and will be debated on the floor. So, we will now move into a period of presentation on this bill.
I was just handed the, I was just handed the bill that was amended in committee. There are two changes that were made, and I'll go ahead and go over those. The first amendment was to change the spring presentation to the last regularly scheduled meeting in March, so that it doesn't interfere with the joint sessions while we're working on other things. And since the fall meeting will be at the last regularly scheduled meeting in December, we don't want to keep it too close to that meeting. So we just scheduled it in the middle of the spring semester. So instead of presenting, quote, every last student senate meeting of both the fall and spring semesters, end quote, now it reads, every last senate meeting of the fall semester and on the last regularly scheduled student senate meeting in the month of March. And the other amendment was made to section of Article 2, definition section 1, where it talks about the report. The report would be a briefing designed to outline, instead of all the, just to outline ideas, concerns, and/or issues written by students and placed in the suggestion boxes. And that's just so that the committee doesn't have to worry about presenting something that's vulgar to student senate, anything that's just, that was intended to play around with boxes. And again, met with the committee, they're supportive of it. This information that will help Senate serve better by this understanding what concerns are being placed in these boxes, which could be directed at the student senate sometimes, but students don't know that it goes through a different process. So, and TAMC is glad that this is happening so that whenever they can take matters into their own hand for an issue, they're able to have Senate behind them. And I think that's the way it should be as the branch that creates committees and funds committees through student fees. With that, I yield to questions.
All right, are there any questions for Chair Sousa? Seeing none, we will now move into a period of debate on this bill. All those, is there any debate against? Senator Castillo.
Senator Castillo, engineering. I just had a few concerns with this bill when we were discussing it in committee. I feel like I think the TAMC and Senate being together is a great thing because as the Senate and other committees, we need to work together to improve student opinion. And but I feel this bill is a little bit too regulatory towards demanding other committees to come and speak to us. If it passes, that's good too, but I just wanted to let that on the floor if anyone else feels kind of the same way.
All right, with that, we'll now move into debate for Chair Sosa.
I think that's a very valid concern. The major thing is that we're not forcing any private entity to do anything for student government. It's a committee that was created by Senate. It's a committee that receives public funding from our fees. And I think that it only helps with our authority and what should be our desire to have oversight over our committees. And what better way to do it than to talk about any bills that come to improve those relations within student government and have the chairs agree with you on the public environment of these committees. This one just being TAMC. I would argue that it's not too regulatory. It only requires 2 presentations that they're allowed to decide who from their committee will present. And also, it just requires that the papers be, the handouts that are there for students to submit into the ag input boxes be, the concerns be public, and they will take out the anonymous, the contact information, since that information is intended for student government to see, not for the general public. And I think that's a great idea that they're not going to be sharing information with other students who are not in student government. Let me yield. And I yield to Cody Miller.
Yeah, I had the same concern when we were discussing it in committee, but after talking with John, he'd already talked with Fernando, and he was like, yeah, this is all cool. This is, they're completely fine with the bill. And so after that, I didn't have a problem with it saying like, oh, this regulates this, because I mean, they were completely fine with it, and so.
Mr. Speaker, how much time do I have? 40 seconds. 40 seconds, okay, really quickly. The biggest part of this bill that I think is an important change, and a really positive change, is that the ag input function of TAMC classically has been something that has sort of served as like a legislative input, but it's worked exclusively within the executive branch. So the problem when you look at the philosophy of divided government is that the legislative branch is the people that come up with the policy, that make it put it on paper in the form of bills, and then it's the job of the executive branch to execute that, to go and try to make those changes with the administration or with the appropriate people in Austin. And this allows us to have enough input from the executive branch to go serve our legislative function with direct student opinion, and that's a good thing. Thanks, David.
All right. All right, the motion is made for previous question, seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have that. We will now move into a period of voting on this bill.
Is this an act? And if so, what type of vote does it amend?
This is an act. It amends. Can you scroll up? This amends, scroll down a little bit. Yes, there we go. Title 5, Subtitle 1 is added as Chapter 1's 102.
Statute?
Yes. Yeah, okay, anyway, so we will move into a vote on this bill, starting now. All right, and that passes by a vote of 38 to 2. All right, we will now return to open session. Are there any other items for open session? Seeing none, that concludes open session. Does anyone wish to hear a committee report from one of the chairs? Hearing none, that concludes committee reports. Executive reports, let's get Student Body President.
Point of information, Scott. What's that pin you're wearing on your lapel right there?
That is
Follow up with more information. Does that make you a pledge? Point of order.
Hey, you can stand.
I apologize.
Is your big in this room right now?
Yes, he is, Caleb Ronnie. That's
When addressing members of the body, the appropriate way is to address them by their titles, such as Senator Roddy. Thank you.
And without any further ado, Student Body President Jack Hofer.
So a few quick updates real quick. So the food bank is actually going really, really well. We secured a location on Agronomy, which is really exciting. It's basically this big office where you can store everything. We're going to have room for shelves. It's going to be amazing. And then in addition to that, we didn't ask for this, but they gave us an administrative office in the front of the building. And so literally right when you walk in, you directly are seeing the administrative office. And so we'll be able to greet them with a smile and a howdy. There's 4 30-minute parking spaces outside. There's a bus route right across the street that drops off right there. And so it's about as perfect as we could have asked for. The day after we went to check everything out, I got an email from Tom Reaver that said the Vice President's office was wiring us $3,000 for startup money. So yeah, that was really made my day. In addition to that, he told us that projects like this usually take 2 to 3 years to accomplish, and we're on track to finish it in 3 months. So this is a huge, huge project that it's really been amazing, and I didn't realize the scope of what we were doing, but when a lot of people work together for something they believe in, it's really cool to see what can happen. So we're looking at opening it on November 12th of 2012. We have a name that we like. Okay, can I run it by him, Mark? Is that all right?
Say what?
Can I run the name by him? See if they like it?
Yeah, I think it's
okay.
good.
What do you guys think about the 12th can? How does that sound? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, that's how we're supposed to reach that. Yeah. Okay, that's something we like, and so I'm glad that y'all like it. 12 cans. Okay, we'll run it back for more people and see what they think. That's cool. Veterans Affairs it's been pretty cool. We've created a Veterans Affairs Task Force on the Executive Cabinet. We've got some great goals, and I've been very impressed with Taylor Sessions and all that he's been accomplishing. We've got some great things we can accomplish there. SEC in DC is actually in the works. We had our first real official meeting last week. I sent an email out to all the other SEC student body presidents, 13 of them, and said, hey, do you guys have any interest? So far, we are 10 for 10 in schools who have shown interest in a trip like this. They've all been very enthusiastic, so they'd love to be a part of it. It's really cool that A&M is getting to take the lead on this. I talked with marketing communications, and they said, hey, this is something we would absolutely love to publicize, showing students coming together in a conference, doing something that's more than athletics, working together to promote higher education. So those are my 3 big updates. Really, really excited about all the initiatives we've got going, and it's been really, really fun working 10 to 12 hours a day up here to accomplish these things. I'm proud to be doing what I'm doing. So that's my update.
All right, and we will now move to the questions. Senator Russo, you got the first.
Senator Russo, off campus. Actually, I changed my question, but let's go with this one. You touched on the SEC and DC a little bit. What is the process for selecting the people that go, and what kind of application will there be?
We have had one meeting, and I'm probably going to leave that up to Sam Hodges and Stephen Pennington, who are leading this up. As soon as I get information on that, I think their goal is to actually get applications out in the next few weeks. And so we will certainly have more information about that soon. Thanks for asking, Chris.
Thank you.
Senator Slusser.
Senator Slusser-Coles. When would this trip, I guess, take place?
Yes, the date that we had talked about was sometime at the end of March. And that's still something that we haven't run by the other schools, but that's when Big 12 in the Hill has actually happened in the past. And I realized today it would actually be kind of funny if we were in DC the same time as Big 12 in the Hill. Who knows, it could happen. And I think it would make the trip that much more effective having 2 conferences there at the same time. One, obviously, a superior conference. Any other questions? Scott?
Seeing none, that concludes his executive report. I don't have much else, guys. This was a great meeting, just like before. And we've all stayed efficient. Second one in a row where we're going to get out really early. I want to see more bills, though. I think we've had several bills, and I've been very happy with the fact that a lot of the work has been done in committee. We haven't had any issues on the floor, things like that. But I do want to start seeing us tackle some issues that we might have some disagreement on. Because I mean that's why we have a student senate. It is to debate issues and to really come to good decisions that not necessarily everyone does agree on. So, so think outside the box a little bit. Think of some good ideas, and I'm really excited to see what you come up with. And that. Oh, yes, and there's no report for the board.
Hey, do you want to report? Yeah, just for a second. Do you want to take the opportunity to exactly, like, tell them who this is?
Oh, yes. This is Chuck Arvin. 3 days ago, he was appointed as, by the Judicial Court as interim Chief Justice. So until a new Chief Justice is confirmed, he will be serving in that role.
Chair Rowan.
Howdy.
Myself. Chair Harris.
Howdy.
Chair Gnu. Cheshire.
Howdy.
Chair Maverick.
Howdy.
Chair Sosa.
Howdy.
Chair Price.
Howdy.
Chair Miller.
Howdy.
Senator Gard. Senator Gard. Senator Rhodey.
Howdy.
Senator Slusser. Howdy. Senator Taft.
Howdy.
Senator Smith. Rachel Smith. Senator Golden.
Howdy.
Senator Senator Wissard. Senator McCreary. Senator Courtney.
Howdy.
Senator Woolridge. Senator Owens.
Howdy.
Senator Kingsbury. Senator Porter.
Howdy.
Senator Bryson.
Howdy.
Senator Penniman. Senator Howard. Senator Howard.
Howdy.
Senator Alders.
Howdy.
Senator Smith. Senator Smith. Senator Woolsey.
Howdy.
Senator Hurley. Senator Landry. No, Senator Rios.
Howdy.
Senator Nate.
Howdy.
Senator Kim.
Howdy.
Senator Castellanos. Howdy. Senator Slick.
Howdy.
Senator Russo.
Howdy.
Senator Luz.
Howdy.
Senator Boyd. Senator Davis.
Howdy.
Senator Allen.
Howdy.
Senator Kelly.
Howdy.
Senator Murray. Howdy. Senator Joyce. Senator Potbutter.
Howdy.
Senator Brown. Senator Kipway. Senator Hawks. Senator Jay. Senator Williamson. Hey.
Howdy.
Senator Williamson. Senator Bateman. Senator Melendez. Howdy. Senator Bruckmiller. Senator Phelps.
Howdy.
Senator Heifel. Senator Colwell. Senator Hamaj. Senator Carey.
Howdy.